Shalom. It's Jeremiah Cole. Before we start off, I want to give praises to the Father and the Son. Brakta Yahweh, Brakta Yahushua, Brakta Yahweh, Brakta Yahushua, Brakta Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushua, Bahashem, Rakakadash. Yahweh is to the people ignorantly called God, and Yahushua is to the people ignorantly called Jesus. You so-called blacks, so-called Hispanics, so-called Native Americans. You are the Hebrew Israelites. Today it's going to be pulling a couple of different, precepts. Yesterday was a blood moon. And signs like that in the heavens, isn't just something to ooh and marvel at. It's actually, a sign. First precept that we're going to hit today is Psalms 104:19. It says, He appointed the moon for seasons. The sun knoweth his going down. And just by looking at the moon and which phase is in, you can tell, which time of the month, we are in. For instance, like, if you see a new moon, that means, a new month. So, let's say that the new moon hits in, let's say, October 8th. That's when the real next new month starts. Because this calendar that we go by is, man's calendar. It's called the Gregorian calendar. And it says the sun knoweth his going down. And in different times of the year, like for summer, the sun stays out longer. But fall, the sun goes down a little earlier. Winter, it goes down even earlier. So new moon means new month. And we got Luke 21:25. And there shall be signs in the sun and in the moon and in the stars and upon the earth distress of nations, with perplexity the sea and the waves warring. And it's been all these, signs, in the moon, in the stars and in the sun, all these different, blood moons, all these different eclipses, and on top of that, distress of nations. You got multiple countries right now in a state of war. You got Russia going into Ukraine. You got Gaza, being destroyed right now as we speak. And on top of that, you have the Lord sending plagues upon these nations, via, these traumatic, very destructive earthquakes that we have been, witnessing, which have, been getting more and more frequent, man. So, we know it's clear via, all the signs that Yahweh Shimi Shah is, showing in this earth, what time and what days we are in, man. That's, the last days. And man, we in that time of war. This is Joel 3:9 through 10. Proclaim ye this among the Gentiles, prepare war. Wake up the mighty men, let all the men of war draw near, let them come up. And all these nations, have been either involved in wars or, gearing up to fight wars, man. You had Mystery Babylon bomb Iran this year in 2025. You had India, Pakistan flare up. You had India, Iran. You had Slovakia, Israel, Iran flare up. You had Thailand, Cambodia. Still got Russia, Ukraine. So, all these wars are, continue to flare and pop up. And on top of that, tensions are getting worse, man, between all these various different countries. But also, alliances are growing tighter with various different countries like, China, Iran, Russia. Via these BRICS nations, coming together, not only militarily, but economically to, defeat Mystery Babylon, which is, America. Verse 10. Beat your plowshares into swords and your pruning hooks into spears. Let the weak say I am strong, man. That's, all these troops, getting ready and, preparing themselves, practicing to, go to war, man. And, on top of that, you have North Korea planning to send 30,000 more troops to Ukraine. You have all these different things going on at the same time, man. Then on top of that, you have the National Guard being deployed to different, U.S. cities across the country. They're talking about, going to Chicago. And, y'all know how all them, Jakes to be in Chicago, they be wilding. So, it's a lot going on, man. In these last days, these plagues and, prophecy is only continue to, ramp up, and, flare up even more, man. And, with these war tensions, getting worse, that military draft looms in the midst, man. But, with that, hope this lesson was edifying through spirit and power. Yahweh Shimi Haushah. All praises unto Yahweh Shimi Haushah. Until next time, Shalom, Yashalom.